My fiancée cheated on me and left me for her ex, then expected me to still act as a father to her 3 kids. I said no, and they weren't happy about it. Hey, Reddit, ever have one of those moments where your entire world shifts with just one sentence? Mine began with, "We need to talk." Now, I know what you're thinking. Those 4 words have probably wrecked more relationships than forgetting anniversaries or telling someone to calm down during an argument. I'm 32. My name's Marcus, just a regular guy. I work as a mechanic, love grilled cheese sandwiches, and enjoy a good horror flick. Until recently, I was engaged to a woman named Candace, who's 34. She had bright red hair and a smile that could probably talk its way out of anything. I'm not saying she did anything wrong, but if anyone could charm a jury, it was her. Candace had 3 kids from a previous relationship, 2 boys, Max and Eli, and a little girl named Jordan. I met them when they were 7, 5, and 3 years old, and now they are 12, 10, and 8. I spent 5 years with them. 5 years of school drop-offs, birthday parties at Chuck E. Cheese, which, by the way, I'm convinced that mouse is actually a demon, late-night fevers, and even playing the Tooth Fairy, even when Eli caught me one time and said, "You owe me $10 for emotional trauma." I didn't just love those kids. I raised them. Their biological father, Kevin, yeah, that's his real name, left when Jordan was a baby. No contact, no child support, nothing. He was a ghost with a bad haircut, posting gym selfies and motivational quotes on Facebook about being a real man. Candace and I seemed solid, or so I thought. Sure, we had our occasional disagreements. Who doesn't? But I loved her. We were planning our wedding. The venue was booked. My mom already had a dress, and I even agreed to do a line dance at the reception. Then, one evening, she sat me down and said, "We need to talk." I tend to joke when I'm nervous, so I said, "You better not be pregnant, because that'd be really confusing for science." She didn't laugh. Instead, she told me she'd been seeing someone for about 4 months. She said she didn't mean for it to happen, but feelings developed. I honestly thought she was messing with me. I mean, Kevin, the guy who disappeared for 5 years and couldn't spell their right in a single sentence? Nope, not a joke. She explained they reconnected for the sake of the kids, and things just happened, like falling down the stairs or hitting your neighbor's mailbox with your car. But instead of an accident, it was a full-blown betrayal, complete with child support. She cried. I didn't. I just sat there, stunned, like my entire life had been blindsided by a man in cargo shorts and Axe body spray. Then, she dropped the real bombshell. "I hope we can still co-parent. You're their dad in every way that matters." I blinked. "You mean, while you're moving in with Kevin, you want me to still be, what? The bonus dad? The weekend stepdad? The emergency babysitter?" She nodded. She nodded like it was the most reasonable request in the world. "Marcus, they love you. Your family." I looked at her, bewildered. "Candace, I'm not going to be the unpaid emotional support guy while you go play Happy Family with Kevin 2.0. She looked shocked, as though I was a bad guy for not sticking around after she threw me out like last week's leftovers. I walked out that night. I packed up my stuff and told the kids I needed to leave for a while. I couldn't even bring myself to look Jordan in the eye without feeling like I was about to break down. For weeks, I was a wreck. My apartment looked like a sad bachelor pad, the kind you'd expect from someone who was grieving. Pizza boxes, tissues, reruns of sad movies, and endless hours of Grey's Anatomy, where I cried more than I'd like to admit. Go ahead, judge me. I'm not ashamed. Then came the messages from Candace. They miss you. Jordan won't eat her broccoli without you. Max cried last night, asking why you hate them. She even had Kevin send me a message. Step up, man. You were part of their lives. Be a man. From Kevin, of all people. The guy who vanished when his daughter was barely old enough to walk and hadn't wiped the kids but since Obama was still president. I blocked them both. Took some time to focus on myself. Got into therapy. Started jogging, even though my knees sounded like a bag of popcorn in the microwave every time I ran. Slowly, I got better. Quietly. 6 months later, Candace came knocking. Her hair was wild, her eyes red from crying, and she was holding Jordan's hand. She told me Kevin left again. He wasn't ready, she said. The kids need you. I looked down at Jordan and then back at Candace. For a split second, I wanted to say yes. I wanted to take her in my arms and tell her I'd be there. But I didn't. Instead, I said, I'm sorry. I'm not their dad anymore, and you made sure of that. She cried, and Jordan looked at me like I was a villain in her story. But I closed the door. Sometimes, love isn't enough. Sometimes, doing the right thing means walking away. And sometimes, stepping away from being their dad is the only way to become the man I was meant to be. I didn't sleep that night, not because I regretted my decision, but because my heart ached. Have you ever loved something so much it physically hurts to let it go? That's how it felt. Like ripping Velcro off your soul. Those kids weren't just his. They were mine. I taught Max how to throw a football. I built a dollhouse for Jordan one Christmas and got so many splinters, I looked like I fought a porcupine. I stayed up all night with Eli when he got the flu and threw up all over my Xbox. I love them. I still do. But Candace didn't just cheat on me. She chose someone else to step into the role of their father. And when everything fell apart, she expected me to just step back and like nothing had changed. Like I was just a backup option. I don't do secondhand love. The next day, I spoke to my therapist. I told her everything, and I was angry, not because she came back, but because for a brief moment, I let myself hope. That made me feel weak. But my therapist said something I'll never forget. She said, you can love them and still walk away. That's not weakness, that's maturity. So that's what I did. I didn't respond to Candace's texts. I didn't call the kids. I wrote them letters instead, letters I'll keep, maybe give them one day when they're older and can understand. I told them how proud I was of them, how much I loved them, and that none of this was their fault. And then I let go. It wasn't easy. The silence after a life filled with so much noise was deafening. But in that silence, I found myself again. I went back to working on cars and started volunteering at a local after-school program. Funny thing is, it turns out there are a lot of kids out there who need a positive male role model. And now, I'm doing it on my terms. A couple of years later, one Saturday morning, I was grabbing coffee when I saw Maximum. He was taller now, leaner, wearing headphones and a hoodie. He saw me, froze, then sprinted over. I'm not going to lie. I teared up. The kid looked like he aged 5 years since I last saw him. He hugged me so tight. I thought for sure I heard my ribs crack when he hugged me. I'd never stopped missing him. We sat down and talked for a while. I told him I was proud of him and asked how things were going with school and life in general. He told me Kevin had left for good this time. Candace had been struggling, and the kids were doing their best to keep it together. Then he asked, why didn't you come back? I looked him straight in the eye and said, because I wasn't wanted back until everything fell apart. You deserve people who choose you first, not just when it's convenient. He nodded, didn't argue, just seemed to understand. Then he said, you were the only real dad I ever had. That night, I cried again, but it wasn't out of grief. It was out of closure. I finally felt at peace. Now, I'm in a better place. I'm seeing someone new. Her name's Tasha. She has this loud, contagious laugh and a cat that clearly wants nothing to do with me. But she brings calm into my life. No drama, no hidden exes, no games. She knows about my past, and do you know what she said? She told me, I'm glad you chose yourself, because now I get to love all of you, scars and all. So if you're out there listening to this, and you're hurting, maybe someone betrayed you, maybe you're stuck in that in-between place of letting go and holding on, just remember, you have the right to walk away. You have the right to say no. You have the right to stop boning yourself out to keep others warm. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is close the door and leave it shut. A few weeks after I saw Max, I got another message from Candace. The kids keep asking about you. Maybe you could stop by for dinner sometime. I stared at the message for a while. Part of me wanted to say yes, for the kids, for the memories, but I didn't. Instead, I replied, I always care about them, but I'm not your backup plan. I'm not the filler between your messes. They deserve better, and so do I. She never replied, and that was fine with me, because sometimes love isn't enough to make you stay. But self-respect? That's enough to leave. And this time, I never looked back.